I'm going to give you an example of something that I recently did. At the age of 39, so let me back up a little bit here. I grew up here in Salt Lake City, and my dream as a high school kid was to play football for the University of Utah. And my father had different ideas. He wanted me to follow the footsteps of him. My dad owned probably at the time, and for a long time, and arguably until he retired and sold it, one of the most successful hair salons in the state of Utah. Now, my father's from Japan, my mom's from Mexico. They immigrated to the United States and they immigrated to Salt Lake City. Kind of a cool story. When my dad came from Japan, he came, back in the early 70s, and he took a boat here. It took 30 days from Japan to the U.S. on a boat, and he came with $200 in his pocket. And when he got to the U.S., he only had $200. He was able to accomplish quite a bit. He started a successful business, like I said, probably one of the most successful in the state of Utah in that industry. Worked really hard, worked really long, bought some real estate along the way. That was actually my introduction to real estate, and I was able to put my sister through college, me through my education, and I'm proud of him. He did well. We lived a comfortable lifestyle growing up, and so he had some goals, and luckily I had kind of him as an early mentor to see what hard work really looks like. Now, however, having said all of that, once I graduated from high school, he wanted me to keep pursuing his goals, not my goals. And so what that meant is when I graduated from high school, you graduate, I believe graduation was June, like the first week of June. And then I went to the University of Utah for one class for one quarter, really just to kill time, because January 4th was my first day of hair school in London, England. So my father wanted me to follow his footsteps. So he, at the age of 18, shipped me out to London, England, where I lived by myself and went to hair school for a year. And then from London, came back to Salt Lake City, Utah, and he told me at that particular point, because I had gone to the best hair school in the world back in 1992, that coming back to Salt Lake City to pursue a hair career is probably not the best idea. So then he shipped me out to New York City, where I lived for 19 years, and pursued that industry. Was a hairstylist to Anderson Cooper, Matthew Broderick, Joan Osborne. Those were some of my clients. I was Anderson Cooper's personal stylist for 6 years. I'd go to his house. I'd go to the CNN office. I'd go to hotels if he was traveling, and I would basically cut his hair so he always looked good on CNN. But because he shipped me to London at the age of 18, that took away my dream of playing college football, because I was not going to the University of Utah. I was now going to a hair school, the Vidal Sassoon Academy in London, England. So that was probably one of the biggest blessings in disguise that I didn't realize until I was much, much older, like late 30s. I didn't realize the pain that having that dream taken away created a motivated mindset for me for years to come, even to this day. So when you lose something that hurts so bad because you wanted it so much, and I'm not saying I would have even made the team. I wanted to just try out for the University of Utah, and I can accept failure. If I would have got cut, I would have got cut. But having the ability to even try out is really what hurt. My dad says, you're not going to go to college, you're not going to play football, you're going to go follow my footsteps, and you're going to be a successful hairstylist. And I was one of the, at that time, I like to give an analogy. You have the NBA. Everyone in the NBA is a great basketball player, but then you have the all-star team, which means these are the best of the best in the NBA. If there was like an all-star team back when I was at my peak as a hairstylist, I would have probably played on that all-star team. So I was, exceptionally good at that industry. I was involved in it for 19 years at the highest level in New York City, probably the fashion capital of the United States. And so I enjoyed that career, but what happened was, by having the opportunity to try and play college football, it made me now have the biggest regret that I didn't get that chance to play college football. And I told myself I will never let that happen again, which is great, because now I've pursued, literally everything I've ever wanted to do, I've pursued. Just kind of a side note, I was an amateur boxer. I was an aspiring Olympian in the sport of skeleton. Didn't make the Olympic team, but I tried. I published a book. I invented a product that now sells worldwide. It's called Snap Leash. It's a dog leash. Invented it and patented it. I mean, we'll talk about that a little bit here, because I had to create the roadmap for that, because I had no knowledge on the pet industry at the time, but went from zero knowledge to the pet industry to now selling this leash worldwide. And so that dream of playing college football being taken away from me basically drove me to now never have that regret again. It was so painful. I said, I'll never have that regret again. I can accept failure, but I can't accept not attempting to try.